first impressions of, which is now going to be, well, which is today going to be the first impressions of Scrolls. Well, you probably, well, not probably, maybe you've heard of Scrolls before. Scrolls is a digital collectible trading card game, much like Hearthstone, as there is no physical equivalent to it, like there is in Magic. Like Magic exists digitally in the forms of Magic Online, as well as Magic Duels of the Planeswalkers, I believe. As well as physically, of course. And physically, it's very, very expensive if you really want to get rare cards and everything. So, thus the age of digital trading card games, I guess, emerged and, well, made trading card games a lot more accessible and arguably more fun, as there is a new player, well, huger player base now, and more variety, I'm sorry, for this kind of games. Now, well, Scrolls is a digital collectible card game, and now you're probably asking, well, yeah, yet another card game. Why should I play this over Hearthstone? Or why should I play this over Magic? And I'm here to tell you, because I am very much enjoying Scrolls, and unfortunately, it is yet in beta. It has a very small player base, which is a very friendly player base, thankfully. And I would very much like to see this game have a player increase. And this is why I wanted to show you, well, at least to those of you who don't know it already. Now, the game is being developed by Mojang, the guys behind Minecraft, you probably know. And it is still in beta. It's being constantly updated with new cards, new mechanics, new, types of decks, types of play modes. So, in order to show you how this game is different from Magic or Hearthstone, in my opinion, it's best to start with deck building. In order to build a deck, we go to, who would have guessed it, the deck builder. And here we can show you, or rather I can show you, the different types of scrolls or cards. Cards are called scrolls in this game. Wonder why. So I can show you the different types of cards that are in scrolls, as opposed to Hearthstone and or Magic. Now, there is obviously your standard monster card. As you see, there's an example in the Aging Knight. Now, the Aging Knight costs 1 mana. This is what the symbol at the top means. It has 2 attack, which is the number to the, number next to the sword. It has 1 countdown. I'm going to explain what that is in the gameplay part of this video. And 2 health. So nothing too special there. Its special abilities are explained in its card text. As for Aging Knight, it says each time Aging Knight attacks, its base countdown is increased by 1, which is not particularly good. However, a 1-drop, like a 2/2 for 1 mana would otherwise be overpowered. So apart from creatures, there is structures like this totem, like this ancestral totem. It has, as you can see, 0 attack because it's just a totem. It cannot attack, it has no cooldown, and it has 2 health. Now what a totem does is it gives well, it gives benefits to your side of the board. In case of Ancestral Totem is, as long as Ancestral Totem is in play, creatures you control gain +1 attack. Now, there's also, you know, regular spells. By regular I mean spells as you would expect them from Hearthstone or Magic. Like, for example, I actually find one. Let's actually search for one. Like, for example, Quake. Quake deals 3 damage to all enemies and 2 damage to all creatures. But what? That doesn't make sense. Oh! 3 damage to all structures and 2 damage to all. So it's just a card that you play. It has an effect to your side of the board, or in case of Quake, to the entire board. And it's different from enchantments. Enchantments, like for example Animover, can be put on a creature to enhance its strength or defense, give it special abilities, and it will stay on the creature until the creature dies, in most cases. Whereas when you play a spell, you just play it and then it happens and then it's gone. It's not bound to the creature, like for example Animover. This is how you separate most enchantments from most spells. Now there's also different types of structures. Structures are essentially working the same as creatures, they're just not, you know, able to attack because they don't have an attack value because they're just buildings. Wonder what would happen if our buildings would attack us, you know, walking down the street, random bus attack, I don't know. Oh, but to make up for it, they have unusual high health. Like this Automatic Forge has 5 health with 3 drop, particularly strong. Let me show you. I don't know. Like for example, like this 3 drop. Canonetta only has 3 health. Is a creature, only has 3 health. This structure only has 3 health, while being a 3 drop. This is even a 4 drop, only having 3. So you can see that structures have an unusual high health value while not being able to attack. However, they do have special abilities, like this Automatic Forge has. Now, this Automatic Forge spawns a gun automaton every 3rd turn. Now, a gun automaton is this little fellow. So what that means is you basically get 1 free gun automaton without having to pay for it, without having to play it, without even having to have the card in your deck, as long as you have the Automatic Forge in your deck. Well, you play, rather. It also has another ability where you can tech 3 energy, which is essentially 3 mana, to decrease its countdown by 1, and actually what that actually does is it means that you have to wait 1 less turn until it goes off. So normally it spawns a gun automaton every 3rd turn, but if you pay 3 energy, it will decrease its countdown by 1, and it will spawn a gun automaton after 2 turns now. So now you're probably asking, well, why should I, you know, pay 3 energy to get a creature that is only worth 2 energy, and that I would get anyway if I just wait another turn? Well, that's correct, but there are some circumstances, I guess, where you're just ending up with 3 mana and nothing to play for 3 mana, and so you might as well put it into Automatic Forge rather than wasting it. So those are basically the base card types of scrolls. So there is your average monster card, there is your structure card that gives you benefits, there is the structure card with special ability, there is spells, and there's enchantments, and soon, after the update, which is hopefully hitting in a couple of days, there will be lingering spells, which are spells that affect the entire board, but will only be active for a couple of turns. So they're constantly updating the game, and constantly adding new mechanics, which is cool. Now onto the resources. You've probably seen these little 4 icons at the left here. Those are representing the 4 resources that there are in scrolls. Just like there are, resources or, mana types, and whatever you want to call it, magic, like red, and black, and white, and blue, and green, and I probably forgot something. And just like there are classes in Hearthstone, there's also resources in scrolls, which are currently only 4. Blue resource, which is order, the yellow resource, which is energy, and the green resource, which is growth, as well as the yellow resource, which is decay. Now, what is unique to scrolls, as opposed to Hearthstone, where you're limited in classes, well, you're limited by your other, is that you can essentially, you have no limits. You can throw all the cards together that you want, and it will be a legal deck. You're not limited by any means. You can make whatever deck that you want. It might just not be that effective. It's basically the same as multicolored decks in Magic, where you're not restricted either, and you could just make, green-blue deck or a red-black deck or whatever. It's the same case here in Scrolls. So now that we have gone through basic theory, what resources there are, what card types there are, it's best to explain what actually makes Scrolls unique by jumping into a match. So I'm not going to play a ranked match, I'm going to play a quick match. Reason being that I want to face the AI to show things off, and because there is no round timer facing the AI, I can explain things better and more easily and without you having to be afraid of running out of time. So let's face the AI, and for the sake of showing you a multicolored deck, I'm going to show you the growth deck. Growth deck, whatever. Here we are, me against easy AI, boy oh boy. So, at the start of a game, we are drawing 5 cards, or 6 cards if we go second, and we can decide whether to draw a new starting hand or keep the hand. This is a rather new feature that they built in. It used to be the case that you stuck with the hand first, and that pissed a lot of people off, because basically if you got a bad starting hand, you were at a significant disadvantage. So they lowered the randomness of the game by giving you the option to draw again, which we will be doing just here. Alright, nice. So, now, the first thing that you need to know about Scrolls is probably how to win the game. So, there is 5 of these pillars here with 10 health indicated above them. At the end of each of those rows of hex, first player that defeats 3 of those pillars, which are called idols, the game. So it's basically like those idols are your life points, health points, whatever, like they're big. But it's not just enough to just do 30 damage, which would be the health equivalent to 3 idols. For example, if you went for, I don't know, 9 damage to every idol, you would do more than 30 damage. 45, and you would have still not won because you need to destroy 3 of them. So now, how do you get mana? This is another actually pretty interesting aspect of scrolls. You gain mana by sacrificing cards. If I click on this card, for example, I get a variety of choices what I can do with it. I could sacrifice it for decay, which is this symbol. I could sacrifice it for growth, which is this symbol. I could sacrifice it for wild, which is not currently an option for me. I will explain why later. Or I could draw 2 scrolls. So essentially, if you have enough mana and you don't like the cards you have, you can just sacrifice 1 and draw 2 new ones. But at the start of the game, where you don't have any mana at all, you of course want to sacrifice your scrolls for mana, and since we do have only decay creatures in our hand, we will be sacrificing we will be sacrificing a card for 1 mana. You can only sacrifice 1 card hit a turn for. Now this mechanic has actually been quite controversial because people have said, well, now here I am building my deck with all the cards I want, and now I have to discard them in order to actually be able to play that. That is one way of looking at it. But you could also argue very well that in Magic, for example, you build your mana into the deck from the start. You're actually, you're making sacrificial, so-called sacrificial decisions. You sacrifice cards that are not going to be in your deck at all in order to be able to put in lands. So you're just, shifting the whole aspect of sacrificing cards. In Magic, there is this sacrificial aspect in the deck building itself. What cards do I take out in order to be able to have lands in my deck? And in Scrolls, you can decide this on the fly. You can always be like, okay, which card to sacrifice now? Do I want to sacrifice for mana? Do I want to sacrifice for scrolls? Do I want to sacrifice at all? You don't have to. And you're not forced to sacrifice the same cards every time. You can sacrifice the card that you want to sacrifice based on the nation, which actually makes scrolls significantly more dynamic, as if when you already knew, how many lands do you have, how many creatures do you have, because there might be games where you don't need as many lands but more creatures. In Scrolls you can just decide, well, I'm not going to sacrifice creatures then, and I'm just going with a low mana pool, play lots of creatures. In Magic, you're kind of stuck with the deck you have. You're just like, well, now I have this deck with a lot of lands and not enough creatures. I guess I'm screwed. So I think Scrolls has a little plus point in being more dynamic and in having this whole, do I sacrifice or not type of decision within the game. It's actually giving it a nice little gameplay mechanic here. Now, we sacrificed for 1 mana, before my lengthy monologue starts. And we are now able to play the Ripper, which is a 2/2/2. And as you probably already noticed, there's this X fields here, there's this board here, and we can actually choose where to place the Ripper, which is another, unique, I guess, aspect of Scrolls, as opposed to Hearthstone and Magic, because in Hearthstone and Magic, of course, you can choose your position, but most of the time, positioning is not as important as it is in Scrolls. Another thing is that once you have played a creature, it is able to move one tile. Now it can move to any adjacent tile that there is to it, and so you can, mess around with your board positioning at any given time, which is also not an option that you have in Magic or Hearthstone. So it gives a nice little extra layer of Scrolls. Now that we have finally explained all of this and finally played our creature, we can finally end the turn. Now, our opponent sacrificed for 1 resource. We're going to sacrifice for 1 resource as well. And as you've seen, the countdown of our creature has been decreased by 1. So it goes from being a 2/2/2 to being a 2/1/2. Now what that means is, if a creature has a countdown of 2, additionally to summoning sickness, it will only attack every single turn. So it's not like in Magic or in Hearthstone where you just pick a creature and then it has summoning sickness and it can attack for the turn that it's played, and then it can attack every turn. No, here in Scrolls there is a, countdown system where every creature has a different countdown. So you might have this really, really strong creature. Like this one, for example, the Harvester. It's an 8/4, which is ridiculously strong, and it only costs 3 mana as well. So it's really strong and really cost efficient, but it has a countdown of 5. This is why it can be so strong and so cheap at the same time. So you might have a bunch of low health weenie creatures that can attack every turn or every second turn, or you might have creatures that are really huge but can only attack, so often. So I think the whole countdown system is a kind of unique twist in Scrolls as opposed to Hearthstone or Magic, which adds yet another interesting layer of strategy. So now that we have dealt with that, let's end our turn. Oh, easy AI. So, what I told you just a second ago, he just played a card for 2, which has a countdown of 1, which means that this card is able to attack every turn. Which is the reason why this costs 2 and this only costs 1. They have the same, stats, but this one is able to attack every turn, and this one is able to only attack every second turn. Now, thankfully, it's our turn now, and our creature is ready to attack, which is why it's glowing. And the other creature is glowing too because it's about to attack next turn. Just warning me. So I can move up and attack this creature. Now the way combat is done is, basically the creature that... How to explain this? My English fails me. So, basically the creature of the player that, whose turn it is, attacks. So if I end my turn now, my creature will attack his creature, and his creature will die, and mine will take no damage because there is no simultaneous damage range like there is in Hearthstone. So I will sacrifice my Witch Doctor because it's 6 mana, and I don't have mana by a long shot yet, and I'm going to play the huge creature we're just talking about. And I'm going to attack the creature, and because mine had to attack and his had to going to die. Also, my Harvester decreased cooldown by 1. Which is the case because it only decreases its cooldown whenever a creature dies, and not, as it usually would be, by passing turns. So this is somewhat unique. So as long as you have this guy in play, you want a lot of creatures to die in order for this guy to be able to. So now, we're going to sacrifice this guy. Going to move down to threaten his Gravehawk. Then we're going to play Stone Iron Rock. That's the turn. Oh boy. Okay. So... Okay, I'm going to show you something. I usually, I think, wouldn't do this. But okay. So I'm going to sacrifice the Oblivion Seeker here for scrolls. And I just drew 2 other ones, really. You can have up to 3 cards of the same type. And I just drew all my Oblivion Seekers in a row. So, I'm going to play the Return to Nature, which decreases the health value of all the creatures in the target tile. As you can see here, I can choose, and I can cast it, and both of these... Oh! It's only affecting creatures, and this is not a creature. See, I just made a stupid mistake here. Well, but you can see that health is now decreased, and what I wanted to show you, which I can't show you right now, is when you destroy a creature with this effect on it, you get 1 growth. So there are cards which make it so that you're supported by, well, they support the idea of multicolored decks. You can get a certain color by playing other creatures or other cards, so you can build multicolored decks for other. Okay, here you go. Boom. Alright, now I can show you. So, I'm going to sacrifice this. I'm going to play Return to Nature. Will affect all of the creatures. So I'm going to attack this guy with 3 health, which has Return to Nature on him, which will give me 1 growth. And I will attack this guy with my Oblivion, which will also die and will also give me 1 growth. So I should have 2 growth as soon as I attack. Boom! Boom! Wait, what? How did I only get 2? Oh! It's only working once. Okay, I don't think I actually knew that. However, my Harvester is ready to attack now. That's always nice. I think I'm going to... Actually, that might probably have been an... But you know what? Oh, really. Oh, Leeching Ring. I don't know, dude. The Leeching Ring will not help you. Oh. Okay, I'm actually going to do... So, I was talking about wild, alright? Which is this icon. I can sacrifice cards for this now because I have multiple resources. And I can sacrifice for as much wild as I have multiple. I have 60k and 1 growth. So I can sacrifice for 1 wild. And what wild is basically color. So I have either 70k or 1 growth and 1 growth, or 60k and 2 growth. I can play wild for whatever resource I want, which is the reason why I can play Frostgale now. Which costs 2 growth, and I only have 1, but I also have wilds. That's the reason why I did what I did. I'm not going to play Frostgale because I will clear all of his creatures anyway. Holy crap, this doesn't die? Is it because Leeching Ring gives 1 armor? I didn't know that. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, bitch. I have actually all of my... This is interesting. Okay, well... So we're going to kill this thing now, then. And he plays the Ancestral Totem, which I showed you. Oh, this is great. So I can actually... play this now. Boom! And my 1 harvester died, but the other went off. I can actually, you know, destroy Pyro and attack his idols and even take an idol down. That's great. And he doesn't know what to answer. We're going to play another harvester. Okay. Here's so many harvesters. And amazing. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll attack. So he's just desperately trying to survive at this point. We can just, you know... Actually, okay, I'm going to show you a fun little combo. So the reason why I put this in, the Frostgale, is because of the Bloodline Taint. I can make every creature of my opponent in the target area, oh well, not in the target area, but of one type, gain curse 2, which means that they will take 2 more damage. And now, this thing will not only do 1 damage, but 3, which allows me board wipe most of the time. Yeah! Nice. And now that his board is clear and my creatures are about to attack, we win. So, I hope you enjoyed Scrolls. Maybe you enjoyed it so much that you would want to check it out. Head over to scrolls.com and potentially buy the game if you like what you saw. If you still have questions, feel free to comment or subscribe or message me or whatever, and I will do the best that I can. Also, you could just use Google, but that's just an option. So, I hope I will see you next time.